Howdy and hello everyone, I'm Coaster Critic and you're the viewer, and today we'll be talking about two more B&Ms that I honestly thought were okay, I guess. Those being Hulk and Kumba. Now, the reason why I'm doing both of these is because neither of these coasters have enough material for one whole video, so I thought why not compile them into one big video. Because they're both B&M sit-downs, they both focus on inversions, and I both thought they were okay, I guess. Let's start off with Kumba, as Kumba is the one I rode first, so, you know, kinda makes sense. Kumba opened in the early 90s, meaning it is in fact one of the oldest B&Ms. And it is in fact older than Hulk, and it is older than Nemesis at Alton Towers. Both of these rides have been retracked, and Kumba is sitting here not that well retracked. And honestly, when I went, it was on a packed day, so the line it had was in fact warranted, because Kumba's at the back of the park, and from what I've heard, and from how freaking hard it was to get to Kumba, it gets no lines anymore. One, because it's an old ride, and two, because I don't think anyone can find the thing. And there was in fact a rumor going around, I don't know if that rumor is still relevant today, but there was a rumor going around earlier in 2021 that Kumba was actually going to be removed, that it would be gone in a good 2 to 5 years, because, well, Kumba, it isn't really doing that well anymore, because I'm going to start explaining the ride now, but in my opinion, Kumba was kinda rough. Like, you can tell this thing is not new anymore. And I have ridden new B&Ms, also known as Emperor at Sea Road San Diego, one of the newest B&Ms at the time I'm recording this. So I know how smooth new B&Ms can be, and this is not it. And that mixed with how most of the time it is running 3 trains. When I went, it was running 1 freaking train, but how most of the time it's running 3 trains, and it's hot in Florida, like really hot in Florida. This ride is, it's wearing itself down by the day, and eventually, Busch Gardens is going to have to make a decision. Do they want to do what Alton Towers and Universal did with their B&Ms, and retract the whole thing? Or do they just want to scrap it and leave room for an entirely new coaster? Now, the unfortunate thing is I don't really want Kumba to be removed, not because it's a good ride, well, it is a okay ride, but not because I like the ride, but purely because there's only been one B&M removed at this time, and that was purely because it didn't fit in with Universal's Harry Potter area. So, I really don't want this to be the second B&M removed. Oddly enough, it's the second B&M being removed in Florida, so this would be pretty sad if Florida just seems to be the graveyard of B&Ms, but it seems to be that way. Now, would Busch Gardens want to retract Kumba? Probably not. SeaWorld is not Universal. They do not have the same crowds and money as Universal for obvious reasons. So that means that they probably would not be willing to spend the same amount of money as Universal. That, and also, as I said before, Kumba does not pull in nearly as many crowds as Hulk does, because Hulk is not only right at the front of the park, but it's themed to a very recognizable IP, that being Marvel, so people know what Hulk is and they want to ride Hulk. When you ask a GP about Kumba and they've never been to Busch Gardens Tampa nor heard of the park, well, maybe they've heard some stuff about the park, chances are they won't have no idea what you're talking about. But if you mention Hulk, they'll know exactly what you're talking about. So, not only does Kumba not pull in that many crowds, but it also is going to get slowly older and older. So in my opinion, Kumba could be gone by the end of the decade. Now, finally, after some very long pondering, time for my actual thoughts about the ride. Now, Kumba, it's okay. I've said this in so many videos at this point, but it seems like the majority of my viewers are new viewers. I'm gonna say this again, but I'm not that big of a forces guy. I like airtime, I like hang time, specifically 0G inversions. So, not really that big of a hang time person, but hang time is good if it's done right. But Kumba, its inversions just kind of make you notice that you're going upside down, but you have to actually try and notice. On Twisted Colossus or Full Throttle or Iron Gwazi or any other ride that goes upside down that is built after 2010, I can notice that I'm upside down, and I can feel my body being pulled down to the ground, or I can feel my body losing forces. I can feel it. On Kumba, you can't feel it. You just feel like you're going up very intensely, and then you're going down very intensely. And that honestly just makes Kumba, if they had replaced all those inversions with straight track or a small non-airtime hill, my thoughts about the ride would probably be the same. Now granted, the ride is freaking intense, like this is a really intense ride, probably not helping the age factor of it. Intense rides, if they don't have anything else about them, I just can't be bothered to ride them anymore. Kumba, for me, was a run-trick pony. Ride it for the credit, and I don't really care about it anymore. Just get me to ride on Gwazi and maybe Sheikra, definitely Cheetah Hunt, but not Kumba. Kumba was just okay, I guess, as the title and how I've said before has said. Though I can definitely say that Kumba does look nice. It is definitely one of the most picturesque coasters in the world. Now, if Busch Gardens does what Alton Towers did with Corkscrew, they may just decide to leave the two corkscrews there, or as B&M calls them, flat spins, and maybe just leave it there as a little bit of a nod to Kumba as it once was. Though my final thoughts on Kumba, I don't know why it's still here. Honestly, Busch Gardens should remove it and maybe put in a hyper coaster that is different than Gwazi, or a Giga coaster that honestly won't be built because, again, Florida has those height restriction things with theme parks. So what they would put here, I don't know, but it probably won't be a Giga coaster like everyone wants them to. Anyway, on to Hulk. Before we move on to Hulk, I just want to say one more thing. So, one day, I was looking through Google Maps, because I just do that sometimes, and went over to Kumba. Some slippery, slimy, very sneaky fellow decided that they wanted to change the name of Kumba, replace that K with a C, and turn it into Kumba. So all I'm gonna say now is, Sus Coaster and Blazed Rail, you now have a worthy opponent.
Hulk mutation is rising rapidly.
Right before we start off, I'm just going to say right now, Hulk is better than Kumba. Not in how it looks, Kumba still looks a lot better, but Hulk is better in smoothness, it's better in theming, it's better in audio, because the on-ride audio to this thing is a banger. Not as good as Space Mountain at Disneyland's music, but a lot better than California Screamin's music. Now, unfortunately, I can't really tell you much about the queue. One, because just like Cedar Point, they have metal detectors, but unlike Cedar Point and Steel Vengeance, they do not have metal detectors in the middle of the queue. Instead, they have metal detectors at the start of the queue, because they just couldn't be bothered to put lockers in the middle of the queue, unlike Cedar Point could do. Come on, if Cedar Point can do it, you can do it, Universal. So, Hulk's queue, I also did not see much of it because I was using the Express Pass lane, so I just can't tell you anything about the queue, but from the part I did see, it looked quite nice. Now, again, there was literally no footage of this queue at all on the internet, like no pictures, no footage, no nothing. So this is basically a very, very large mystery to anyone who hasn't been on Hulk yet. I honestly didn't care because I wasn't that hyped for Hulk, but this queue did look quite nice, and it did have a interesting story that I don't remember and I can't be bothered to look up, and I would not be bothered to tell to you if I did know it. The station is also pretty good. Once again, no pictures or footage of it because of obvious reasons, but it was nicely themed. There's a lot of green, black, and white. But what I can tell you about is the ride. The first thing I want to tell you about the ride is that the on-ride audio is a banger, but after that, it doesn't really do anything. Once again, this isn't like Kumba, where it focuses on forces too much. Hulk, it had forces, but the forces were just kind of there. Like, the inversions, yeah, they were inversions. The forces, they were forces. That was pretty much it. I understand why they added on-ride audio to this thing, because if they didn't, then it would be kind of boring. Like, I know it's kind of rare to hear someone call a B&M boring, but it really is. Hulk, it doesn't do anything. The launch is pretty forceful for a B&M. Well, then again, this is one of the few B&M launches, and it's a tire drive launch, so that's even weirder that it's a forceful launch, but it is actually a forceful launch. But other than that, and the fact that the on-ride audio makes the ride better, it's an okay ride. I wouldn't go on it again unless I absolutely wanted to, and yeah, it's Hulk. That's it. Now, what I will do is I'm going to real quick play you the onboard audio for a little bit, because it is a banger, and I want you all to know how good this banger of audio is, so I'm just going to real quick play the entire ride for you here, because it's not that long of a ride, so it's not going to take up that too much of the video, and I'm realizing how short this Hulk part will actually be, so it's nice to pad out the video like this. So if I ever do get monetized, maybe, just maybe, this video could get monetized.
Hulk mutations rising rapidly. Into
Now, if I was clever, and if I wasn't extremely willing to give my final thoughts on these two coasters, I would end the video right there as a nice ending with the whole ride audio thing. But I do have a few last thoughts, so, yeah, I don't know what you expected from me. But this coaster, and these also as well as Kumba, they're both okay rides. Would I ride them again if I came back to these parks, which I most likely will? Probably not. Unless I really want to try out Kumba again, or Hulk again, then I'm probably not going to rewrite these. Maybe I would rewrite Kumba if by the time I went Kumba's closure was announced, but other than that, no. No. Like, why would I want to rewrite these things? When Velocicoaster, because I do want to get a rewrite on it, but if not Velocicoaster, then Hagrid's and Iron Gwazi are both right there. So, yeah, why would I do these if there are 10 times better coasters right across the park? So yeah, those are my thoughts on Kumba and Hulk. This is yet another video criticizing coasters. I guess I'm finally living up to my channel name, aren't I? But yeah, expect the next video to be something that I don't know yet. It's gonna be a video, that's for sure, but I don't know what kind of video it's going to be. Though, do expect a video coming soon enough, and yeah, do expect videos to start slowing down a little bit, though. Not that much, because my video schedule is already very sparse, but for obvious reasons of school starting back up soon enough. So, yeah. Maybe I'll start uploading less, maybe I'll start uploading more, I don't know. But something is going to happen soon enough. Anyway, hope you liked this video, subscribe if you haven't yet. If you want to subscribe, leave a like. And I was with the Coaster Critic, you the viewer, and I'll see you in the future. Goodbye.